What do double hung windows, historic homes, and lead poisoning all have in common? I'm Sandy with Warner Realty Group. Welcome back. If you haven't met me before, please like and subscribe to our channel. Today we're going to talk about lead poisoning, and double hung windows. Recently, Rhode Island beefed up their lead protection laws. Why should you care? Well, if you're thinking about buying or selling in Rhode Island and you're thinking about renting out that property, you are required to have what's called a Certificate of Lead Conformance. The way they're enforcing this is all rental property owners in Rhode Island are required to register their property with the Rhode Island Department of Health, and it's called the Rhode Island Rental Registry. In order to register and get that complete, you have to have what's called a Certificate of Lead Conformance, or you have to be eligible for an exemption. Now, there are certain exemptions if your property was built after 1978, and that's public record. You would just file that exemption and say, hey, I'm built after 1978. The Rhode Island Department of Health could confirm that with tax records, and you would then get a certificate that you've complied. Another one that you might be able to use as an exemption if you only rent your property for 100 days or less, those are properties that are exclusively used as vacation rentals. Remember, if you're a seasonal rental, you only use it as a vacation rental in the summer and then you do a winter rental. That's not going to work because your winter rental is usually 5, 6, 7, 8 months. Or you already have a certificate of lead conformance, meaning you've got one you can upload to the registry, or you had what's called an environmental service, which is next to impossible to get. So ultimately, if you have a house that was built prior to 1978 and you use it as a rental for any period over 100 days, you need this certificate of lead conformance. If you rent your property for any period of time in Rhode Island, you are required to register your property with the Rhode Island Rental Registry. And there's a lot of registries right now. I mean, we get it. Non-resident landlords have a rental registry. The state has a short-term rental registry. Lots of local municipalities, my municipality, Newport, Rhode Island has a rental registry. I know there's one in Narragansett and all sorts of other towns. So we get it. It's confusing. Let's talk about how you get this certificate of lead conformance if you have a historic home. Rhode Island has an extremely large inventory of old antique home stock. I would say, and I'm making this up, but I don't think it's unreasonable to say that probably 80% of Rhode Island's home stock is older than 1978, and a good percentage of it is older than 1900. It's both a curse and a blessing. It's what makes Rhode Island look so beautiful. Right now, Victorian homes are very fashionable, and we love the space that they give us and the number of rooms and the floors. But I digress. If you own a rental property and you still have double hung windows, it's a pickle. I get it. We got some problems here. Many of you have already replaced your double hung windows with vinyl windows, so this isn't really going to apply to you. You're probably going to pass your lead inspection with vinyl windows, or at least it's not going to be your vinyl windows that are going to cause you to not pass your inspection, and it's probably an easy fix. This is going out to you, my dear friends, and I feel your pain, who still have double hung windows in your home. It is next to impossible to pass a lead inspection with double hung wood windows in your home. Lead dust, which we know is toxic, is created by areas of friction, and wood on wood windows, as they open and close, create friction, which creates lead dust. A lead inspection is done by swabbing area on the floor near your window. They're going to swab inside your window sills. They're going to swab your window sills. And if you don't have a screen, they're going to swab outside your window sills for lead dust. It's very difficult to pass. You can wet wash that area immediately before the lead inspector comes, and you might pass that one time. So very challenging. And remember, you have to get a new lead inspection every 2 years. So if you have double hung wood windows, what are your options? You could do a jam liner. Now, some homes in Rhode Island are in areas that are managed by historic district commissions. And in those commissions, you might be told you can't put aluminum or vinyl windows into your property. And some homeowners are really in that bind. That is a tough scenario. And there are some options for that owners. Bear in mind, in those areas, what's happening is the owners have to take the windows out of the home, completely prep, strip, enclose, paint those windows, and then insert what's called a jam liner, which sits inside the windowsill on the vertical jams and sits between the wood window and the wood liner. It is expensive to do. It requires particular machinery. And they still are not guaranteed that it's going to pass every time. If they would get the jam liner done, completely wet wash that area and the floor around it, have the lead inspector come in, swab it, and they're probably going to pass for that particular inspection. Then they're going to have to do the whole thing in 2 more years to make sure that it hasn't worn down over that time and it produced more lead dust. It's burdensome, right? But here's why we're doing this. We know science has shown us, medicine has shown us that lead dust is toxic to human beings. That's why in the 70s, lead was outlawed. Lead was banned. You could not put it in paint anymore. You could not put it in gasoline. Remember, we had to have unleaded gasoline because the fumes are toxic too. So it's a poison. It's a blood poison. It is particularly dangerous for children under the age of 6. Children who are under the age of 6 who get lead poisoning have a neurological damage that can't be reversed. What we can do as a society is control, is there lead in the building at all? So jam liners are one way to do it. The only permanent solution to these wood-on-wood windows is unfortunately to replace them with vinyl windows. They don't create a dust in the window. All of the wood frame is removed and a vinyl frame, the wood can stay there. You can actually replace your windowsill and your whole window frame as well, but the jambs and the windows become vinyl. That's expensive. I mean, you're probably looking at 600. A good case scenario is probably 500 a window, but it's probably 6 after you buy it and you install it, maybe more. Um, I get it. I have a client who has at least 20 windows, and he's looking at $20,000 to replace these. The other risk that you're running into is that the Rhode Island Department of Health is advertising, as is their job, to protect the citizenry and explaining what the impact of lead is on their children, what it is on them as adults, what is required of landlords. And so if you're a landlord and you're saying, you can't make me do this, understand that the Rhode Island Department of Health is going to advertise and let tenants know that they can choose to withhold rent and pay it into a state escrow fund, that they can choose to bring a lawsuit against a landlord. Be careful. And you, I know, are not the type of person who wants to willingly unknow something that we know, which is that lead dust is very dangerous for children, particularly. So, one thing you could consider, particularly in Rhode Island, we have a lot of equity in our homes. And we know this isn't, what you were hoping for, and it does add to your expenses. But one, you can stop renting if that's an option for you. If you're a homeowner, you do not have to do your own windows. Okay, so you could decide you're not going to rent anymore, and that's one option. That is not an option for everyone. Maybe an option for you. So yes, if that's something that you can do and it's financially feasible for you, you're welcome to do that. You probably have enough equity in your home to take a line of credit against it and get this job done. And the only upside I can say to you, I am not making light of the financial challenge that is being put upon you. It is a big deal. But If this is your forever home, if this is you're going to retire into this home eventually, this is a plus for you. This gets the job done. It will be forever compliant with lead once you do that. The window itself will be compliant with lead. You still have to pass a lead inspection, but this is your biggest risk factor in your home. If you are a Rhode Island resident, please look into there is a $5,000 tax credit being offered for Rhode Island residents who permanently live in Rhode Island. I don't think you have to live in that home, but you do have to live in Rhode Island. So if I can connect you with vendors, if I can connect you with more information about this, please take this seriously. If you are found to rent your property in Rhode Island, the mechanism for enforcing this law is in place. This is statutory. You will get fined for not being registered. Your tenant has the ability to refuse to pay you rent. They can instead pay it into an escrow fund until you obey the rules. You cannot evict a tenant if you do not have a certificate of lead conformance or an affidavit that you are in process of getting this. Your homeowner's insurance will not cover you for lead if you don't have this. And yes, the insurance companies know about this. It is really challenging for homeowners. I am very sorry for those of you that are in this bind. And if there is anything we can do for you to help you navigate this, we will. Lines of credit against the equity in your home will help. If you're in a historic district, you may be able to do a jam liner. Honestly, it's the same price as replacing the windows. And we are happy to help you in any way that we can. I'm Sandy Warner. If you have not yet liked and subscribed, please hit that like button, hit that subscribe button. We're going to continue to bring you really hyper-local information about Rhode Island and what it's like to buy and sell properties in Rhode Island. And I hope you have a great day.